I wasn't going to do this. All right, so I really wasn't. If you're a longtime sub or you've been following me at least for the last few weeks, you know it's going to take a couple weeks off. But something happened, and I decided I'm going to release this video just to say thank you. So my friend, my mate, my bud, Este Caballero, Big Stack D, he promoted my channel last night on his Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube page. And I have had a lot of people come over and sub me this just today. So to say thank you to Big Stack D, thank you to the new guys that are have come along and have just checking out the channel. Thank you, welcome. I hope you're not disappointed. I'm going to do a real quick casting. I actually did 3 plaques. I'll show them at the end. You're going to get to see one of them, almost 2. See if you catch it. Anyway, just a real quick one, and I'll come back at the end here and we'll wrap her up. To talk or not to talk, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms and run a meager channel. We'll get used to it, guys. I talk. So let's get this thing started. Okay, as I mentioned, this is one of 3 plaques I'm going to do. So we're going to go ahead and ram this up in the drag in the bottom part. I'm going to do it face down. I've got my runner and gate positioned in here with it as well. Throw a little parting compound on here. A lot of parting compound, I don't know. We'll start to riddle some sand on here just to get a nice face of sand on the part. Once that's done, we go ahead and load up the drag full of sand. I'll start ramming it with my fingers just to kind of hold everything in place. And we'll take the big stick and start ramming her. This is the peen end of the ramming stick, ramming tool. Then we take the butt end of it and we'll ram it some more, pack it all down in there. I'm using green sand, if you didn't know that already. It's different than the Petrobond sand that you'll see a lot of guys casting with. And I've spent a lot of time cleaning stuff up. Clean, clean, clean. Okay, we're going to take our strike and we're actually going to strike off the sand, get it nice and level with the top, or actually what's the bottom of the drag. If this looks awkward, it is. I don't know what to tell you. I could not get it to quit moving around. Now we finally got it struck off here, and now we clean, and we clean, and we clean. We clean some more. All right, and after an interminable amount of cleaning sand off the ridges and things, we can get this thing flipped over and we can finish ramming up the other half of the mold. And we'll put our cope on. This is the top half of the mold. Put my spin trap in. The spin trap is there to catch the initial surge of metal, catch any oxides that come down that tube right off the bat, and any bubbles that start off. And this is my tapered sprue. We always pour down through a tapered sprue. And just like with the drag, we're going to put a bunch of parting compound on here. Riddle some sand on, get again just a clean face of sand for the 2 molds to meet together. It just come apart so much cleaner when I do this. And just like the drag, we're going to go ahead and just start filling it full of sand, filling it full of loose sand. And like I did with the drag, I'm going to go ahead and just pack around some of these small spots like the spin trap and my sprue with my fingers, just to kind of hold them in place and make sure I've got a good pack of sand down at the bottom of the mold. I always do my corners too. The corners never seem to fill. I'm just packing in again with my fingers again, just to get a good packing in there. More corners. Always do the corners. And we ram around the outside first, using again the peen end of our ramming tool. The peen is the pointy end, in case you didn't know. And once we got the outside ram, we can go ahead and start ramming the inside of the mold. In this process, make sure we get a good sand pack down at the bottom of the mold, and we're not trying to compress a large amount of sand with that flat end or the butt end of the tool. All right, we filled it up again, and we're going to just go ahead and flatten it off with the butt end. Put my finger on the sprue so I don't hit it, otherwise I'll hit it for sure. That's the only reason I put my finger on top of those things. If I don't put my finger on there, I will hit them for sure. It's guaranteed I will hit them. Now we're going to strike this off as well. All right, with it all struck off, we can go ahead and start pulling things out of here. I'll pull the vent off the spin trap. And we'll go ahead and cut in our pouring basin. Right there. And if you're new, this is called an offset pouring basin because we pour into a basin that is offset from the sprue. We don't pour directly down the sprue. I want to make sure it's got nice straight walls to it, got a flat bottom in it. We don't do a spoon-shaped bottom or a bowl-shaped bottom in the bottom of the basin. Go ahead and pull the sprue and cut our ridge in. We want a ridge in there to stop that initial pour of metal from just going directly down the sprue. We want it to start coming up into the basin before it starts going over that ridge into the sprue. And I always put a radius on the back edge, or you should put a radius on the back edge because you want the metal to run over a radius and not go over a sharp corner. Use a nice little soft brush to clean things up. Get rid of any broken edges, things like that. All right, now pay attention here. Tell me if you noticed anything down in the comments. Go ahead and pull our runner and gate out and spin trap out. It's the nice thing about printed patterns, and they come out clean, nice, exactly the shape you want it to be in. All right, now keep an eye on this. Tell me what you notice. Gotta knock off that ridge between the actual plaque and the gate. There was a little gap in between the two. Push down that little button of sand. All right, now I use copious amounts of compressed air. It's low pressure. It's really low pressure, like maybe 5 pounds of pressure. I use a lot of air to blow my molds out, and I do it repeatedly to make sure I get all the loose sand out. Do a trowel close, knock any loose sand off the cope, and blow it out again. It's amazing how much loose sand you can get off your mold by doing that. All right, after a huge amount of cleaning up sand, we are now finally ready. The mold's clean. We're ready to do this. All right, let's zoom in here so you can see. I notice the metal pouring into the basin. You'll see it start to fill the basin, then it goes over into the sprue. Keep the sprue full the entire time. And there you go. bang, it is done. All right, let's get this thing open and see what we got here. That looks good. There you go. Nice full mold. Okay, you've seen that's all that's left. I just cut the gate off. I haven't touched anything else on here. We're just going to run it around the belt sander real quick here and just clean up any loose pieces that are on the from the flashing line, and we'll get that gate cut off of here as well. I just used a hacksaw to cut that gate off. All right, there it is, nice and clean, ready to go. Next step here is I take the self-etching primer and spray it on because paint doesn't stick real great to raw aluminum. So we'll go ahead and prime the part. And here it is with a nice even coat of primer on it, getting ready for the paint. We'll throw a little color on here. And we'll sand off the high spots. That's really all the magic to this whole thing, right? Is just knock the paint off those high spots. So we're almost done here. Get that last little bit over on the edge there. And there we go, finished plaque. And I wish I had the angelic music that Big Zack D does. You'll just have to listen to the soothing sounds of my voice. All 3 plaques, there they are, done. Eddie, I hope you guys like them. These were for a friend of mine, Eddie. Well, there you go. There's one you saw me make, Lily. You saw the other 2. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks again.